Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadanti Supadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurum Shri Utapatakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Rugnatham Vidam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadudam Parijala Saidam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shivishakam Vidam Sya Ye Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpade Gopesha Gopika Kanda Radha Kanda Namostude Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sude Devi Pranamami Hari Priye वांछा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमः ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna, Hari Om Tat Sat. So welcome all the devotees for today's teachings of Lord Chaitanya class. We're reading from chapter 20 from this para onwards. Okay. In the Vishnu Purana 6.7.61, it is clearly stated, Vishnu Shakti Paraprokta Kshetra Nyakya Tadha Param Avidya Karma Samnyaya Tritiya Shakti Rishyate. The energy of the Supreme Lord is divided into three: Para, Kshetrajna, and Avidya. The Para energy is actually the energy of the Supreme Lord Himself. The Kshetrajna energy is the living entity, and the Avidya energy is the material world or Maya. Okay, so it is divided into three. In other words, we can say that is internal energy, external energy, and marginal energy. So that way also we can interpret. Okay. Avidya, so this Maya, this material world is why it is called Avidya? Because it's temporary. Okay. We treat that as permanent and live in this world as if we are going to be there permanently. So it's an Avidya. But then why we are going to schools and colleges and trying to learn this Avidya? Because for survival it is required. Those who are totally surrendered to the Supreme Lord Krishna, pure devotee wants to, who are aspiring to become pure devotee, for them it is not necessary, because spiritual knowledge includes everything, even the material knowledge that is required for survival also include. Otherwise it is avidya only. Those who are aspiring to become pure devotees, for them it is not necessary. If you just go back few hundred years, okay, just when all these acharyas, great acharyas, Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, and Shankaracharya, where were this material study? There were no material studies at all. Only Gurukula, okay, all spiritual based teachings. No colleges, universities that we find today were there at those times, isn't it? So they were brilliant students. They were expert in all different arts and other skills. Whatever, even for for their daily livelihood, whatever skills required were taught. Not the present day factory. Now it is a totally material civilization, meant after only for making money and sense enjoyment. Okay, if you go back during the time of Shankaracharya, Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, there were no big industries, no big hospitals, no big education institution like this time that we are seeing, isn't it? But everything was taught, whatever required, both materially and spiritually, was taught. Because there was classification of Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Okay, Shudras were never, put into the Gurukul because they don't have the required qualifications. Not that it's just discrimination. When person admitted in the Gurukul, the teacher the spiritual master, he can make out whether this boy can be fit as Brahmana, Kshatriya, or Vaishya. Accordingly, they were taught. If Vaishya, what they will be teaching? They will be teaching Krishi, Vanijya, and Goraksha. Kshatriya, martial arts and other administrative skills. Brahmanas, Brahmanical qualities to give advice. So that the spiritual master decides, what is the aspiration, of this particular child and what qualities this child has. Accordingly, they will be trained. See this yogyata, the qualification. Nowadays, it's all based on industries and factories and competition. Okay, just how we can make more and more money and have sense gratification. So that's why it is said here, the avidya, these are all avidya actually. Now what we are learning is just avidya only. It is not meant for spiritual advancement. Yes, it may help us to a certain extent for our livelihood, for survival purpose, but it is not it's not allowing us, or it's not helping us to spiritually progress. So these are the, divided into three: para, that is spirituality; kshetratnya, that is the living entity, okay, and the what is that other this thing, avidya, that is the maya or the material energy. It is called avidya or ignorance because under the spell of this material energy, one forgets his actual position and his relationship with the Supreme Lord. So when we are under this energy, we forget our position. We forget who we are and who the Supreme Personality of Godhead is and what's our relationship and what is our goal of life. All these things we forget when we are under the clutches of this, avidya energy. So we forget. One forgets his actual position and his relationship with the Supreme Lord. The conclusion is that the living entities represent one of the energies of the Supreme Lord as infinitesimal parts and parcels of the Supreme. They are called jivas. If the jivas are artificially placed on the same level with the infinite Supreme because both of them are Brahman or spirit, then bewilderment will certainly be the result. So we're all Brahman. Brahman in the sense we have the same quality as that of the Supreme Lord, Satchidananda. But we are very, very infinitesimal. Whereas Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is infinite. So that's the only difference. That's why in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, Mamai Vamsu Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. My part and parcel. They are all eternal. Generally, Mayavadi philosophers are perplexed before a learned Vaishnava because the Mayavadis cannot explain the cause of bondage of the living entities. When we come under the clutches of Maya or Avidya, we get entangled in the cycle of birth and death. We get bound. That's why it said, they cannot explain, who Mayavadi philosophers, why we are bound in this material world again and again. They simply say it is due to ignorance. Why this ignorance is happening, they don't explain. But they cannot explain how the living entity can be covered by ignorance if they are supreme. Now, if as per their this thing, we are all supreme, we are all one with the Supreme, then how the Supreme can come under the clutches of ignorance? It's not possible, no? Because we are the part and parcel of Supreme, but when we come in contact with material nature, we come under this ignorance quality. Because in this material there are three qualities primarily, that is Sattva, Rajas and Tama. So we come under that quality. Because we forget the Supreme Lord, we forget our own position. If they are Supreme, it is not possible to be covered by ignorance. It means, as per Mayavada philosophy, we are all one with the Supreme Lord. Then how can we entangled in this material world under ignorance? Is not possible. The actual reason is that the living entities, although qualitatively one with the Supreme, are infinitesimal, not infinite. Had they been infinite, there would have been no possibility of their being covered by ignorance. If we are Supreme Lord cannot come under ignorance. Because the living entity is infinitesimal, he can be covered by an inferior energy. Just like the fire is covered by smoke. Okay? Fire is superior, but smoke is inferior. But again, the fire is covered by the smoke. The foolishness and ignorance of the Mayavadis are revealed when they try to explain how the infinite can be covered by ignorance. It is offensive to attempt to qualify the infinite by arguing that he is subject to the spell of ignorance. Although Shankara attempted to cover the Supreme Lord by his Mayavada philosophy, was simply following the order of the Supreme Lord. So Prabhupada very clearly says here that Shankaracharya, Adi Shankaracharya, attempted to cover the Supreme Lord by his philosophy. It is not on his own, not whimsically that he was trying to do so. It was the instruction of the Supreme Lord to do so. That's why Lord Shiva tells Parvati in the Padma Purana that Mayavadam Asat Shastram, Prachannam. Okay? It is not the correct science. It's a covered because he was instructed to do so. It's not that he whimsically did. He was instructed to preach this particular philosophy just to reinstate Vedas from atheism or from Buddhism. Because Lord Buddha, who is again the incarnation of Lord, he propagated what? Atheism, voidism. He rejected the Vedas. So the Vedas should be brought back. So Adi Shankaracharya, that is who is none other than Lord Shiva, was instructed by Lord Vishnu to bring back this philosophy, bring back the Vedas by propagating this Mayavada philosophy. Okay, it should be understood that his teachings were a timely necessity but not a permanent fact. So at that need of the hour, okay, at that time it was required, because straight away from voidism to personalism, we cannot bring. Slow and gradual improvement took place. Okay, from voidism to impersonalism, from impersonalism to personalism, from personalism again it got refined from Ramanujacharya, that is Vishishtadvedam, then Shuddhadvedam, then Achinda Veda, Aveda Tattva. Like that, it slowly and gradually it got refined. In the Vedanta Sutra, the distinction between the energy and the energetic is accepted from the very beginning. The second aphorism of the Vedanta Sutra, Janmadi Asyata, clearly states that Supreme Absolute Truth is the source of all emanations. Okay. So Supreme Lord is the source of all emanations. Okay. Aham Sarvasya Prabho. Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita also, from me everything emanates. So he is the source of all emanations. Mataha Paradaram Nanyat. Besides me, there is no other truth. He's telling that. Thus the emanations are the energy of the Supreme, whereas Supreme himself is energetic. So potent and potency, energetic and energy. Shankara has falsely argued that if the transformation of energy is accepted, Supreme Absolute Truth cannot remain immutable. But this is not true. Despite the fact that unlimited energies are always being generated, Supreme Absolute Truth remains always the same. In that connection, we have to refer to Isopanishad. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamadachade Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnam Eva Avasishyate. How much ever you take from the Purnam, how much ever you give to the Purnam remains. I mean, the absolute truth remains absolute only. No, you cannot take anything and you cannot give anything. It is always Purnam. Even the balance is also Purnam. So that's what here also it is specifically said. So despite the fact that unlimited energies are always being generated, the Supreme Absolute Truth remains always same. There's no, just like in the material maths, 1 plus 1 equal to 2, 1 minus 1 equal to 0. This is our material maths. But spiritually speaking, 1 plus 1 and 1 minus 1 is 1 only. So this is what in the spiritual ways of understanding things. That's why it's Purna. Whether you give or take, it is Purna. is not affected by the emanation of unlimited energies. Shankaracharya has therefore incorrectly established the theory of illusion. So, as per Shankaracharya's statement, when so many emanations are coming from Supreme Lord, he diminishes his potency, his qualities. It's not so. In the material, yes, there's a cake, we cut into so many pieces, we take few pieces and eat. The remaining is not the full, isn't it? But spiritually speaking, when we offer bhoga to the Supreme Lord, okay, he tastes that, he eats that, and he gives that as prasadam as it is, without even reducing even a single grain. Does it mean that he has not tasted? He has tasted, isn't it? So it is there as it is. Okay. Once a disciple asked his guru, okay, about the same thing. How Lord Krishna or Vishnu is eating prasadam and we are getting it as it is without any decrease in the quantity. Why we are getting it back? So Guru asked his disciple, there was one slogan in Bhagavad Gita, you by heart this and come next week. So the disciple by hearted the sloka, okay, and went to his Guru Maharaj, then asked him to recite that sloka. So then he very nicely recited. The Guru Maharaj asked him, so where was this sloka? So in Bhagavad Gita, okay. So you by hearted this, you have taken that, but still it is there in this book. This sloka is there, isn't it? If you have taken it into your heart, how come this sloka is there in the book again? Similarly, the Lord can eat at the same time, give it as it is, without reducing anything. So this is how he explained, to make the disciple understand that Lord eats by just glancing, but the quantity never decreases. If he really starts eating and it diminishes, from tomorrow onwards we will not. So that's why he is called Purnam, absolute. So Ramanujacharya has, yes, Mataji.
What is the difference between purified food and prasadam?
Yeah, purified food is just when we offer to the Supreme Lord, the bhoga, he purifies all the sinful reactions, he takes it. But when we offer it with love and devotion, then it becomes prasadam.
Okay.
Then that is mercy. So just offering without love and devotion, it purifies. There is no sinful reaction. Because even vegetables has got lives. Since it is our quota, we have to survive, we have to eat. But then it has to be offered first to the Supreme Lord, because Lord Krishna says, Yat karosi yat dasnasi yat duhosi dadasi yat. Whatever you eat, whatever you offer, whatever charity you do, everything should be offered to me. So it becomes purified. But to get the mercy of the Supreme Lord, prasadam, to make it prasadam, we have to offer it with love and devotion. Then only it becomes, otherwise it becomes only purified food.
Thank you, Professor.
Okay, Hare Krishna. So Ramanujacharya has discussed this point very nicely. One may argue, since there was only one absolute truth before the creation of this material world, how is it possible that the living entities emanated from him? If he were alone, how could he have produced or generated the infinitesimal living entities? In answer to this question, the Vedas state that everything is just generated from the absolute truth, everything is maintained by the absolute truth, and after annihilation, everything enters into the absolute. These statements from the Upanishads makes it clear that when the living entities are liberated, they enter into the supreme existence without changing their original constitution. So we all were with the Supreme Lord. Okay, we generated, and once we are liberated, we goes back to the Supreme Lord. So, only thing is, we are eternally existing as part and parcel of Supreme Lord. Okay? Just like the rays from the sun. They're part and parcel of the sun, right? The spark of the fire, part and parcel of the fire. We are also part and parcel of that supreme fire, Supreme Lord. So we are eternally existing Natvevaham jatunasam, natam neme janadhiva. Lord Krishna says in Buddha. Never was there a time that I did not exist, not you, nor all these kings. And never will be there a time that we shall not cease to be. We shall cease to be. Sorry. So always we are eternally existing as part and parcel of Supreme Lord. Sometimes covered by Maya in the material world, and sometimes in liberated condition in the spiritual world serving the Supreme Lord under the energy of Supreme Lord. That is internal energy. So we must always remember that the Supreme Lord has his creative function and that the infinitesimal living entities have their creative functions also. It is not that their creative function is lost when they are liberated and enter into the Supreme after the dissolution of the material body. So although our body, which are made up of material elements, it's lost, it's destroyed. But we as a person, as an Atma, still there. Our creative energy, our spiritual mind, our spiritual intelligence, our true ego is always there. Now it is covered with matter. That's why we have material energy, material mind, material intelligence, and false ego. Once we come out of this matter, everything becomes spiritualized. So on the contrary, the creative function of the living entity is properly manifested in the liberated stage. So the real work, the real activity of the spirit soul is manifested in the liberated condition only. If the living entity's activities are manifest, even when he is materially conditioned, then how is it possible for his activities to stop when he attains liberation? The living entities entering the state of liberation may be compared to a bird entering a tree or an animal entering the forest or a plane entering the sky. In no case activity stop. When a bird enters the forest, we won't be able to make, especially from far. It's a thick forest, and birds are also of same color, green color, for example. We won't be able to make out that there's a bird, isn't it? So it's as if the bird has merged in the forest. But as it really merged in the forest, no, it keeps its individuality. That's an example given here. An animal entering forest or a plane entering the sky. No, the plane doesn't merge with the sky. Plane keeps its individuality, identity, although it is in the sky. And the activities are never stopped. When explaining the second aphorism of the Vedanta Sutra, Shankara has most unceremoniously tried to explain that Brahman or the Supreme Absolute Truth is impersonal. So Brahman can be referred to, the living entities or the Supreme Lord also. Here, Brahman or the Supreme Absolute Truth is impersonal. That the Lord or the Supreme Absolute Truth has no form. Impersonal. Person means with a form. Impersonal means without any form. Nirakara. Okay. Now, as per their philosophy, the Lord has no form. Nirakara. No quality. Nirguna. Nirvishesha. No attributes. So this is their definition, which the school of thoughts of personalism doesn't accept. So he has also cunningly tried to switch the doctrine of byproducts into the doctrine of change. For the Supreme Absolute Truth, there is no change. It is simply that a byproduct results from his inconceivable powers of action. In other words, a relative truth, a byproduct, is produced out of the Supreme Truth. For example, when a chair is produced out of crude wood, it is said that a byproduct is produced. The Supreme Absolute Truth, Brahman, is immutable, and when we find a byproduct, the living entity or this cosmic manifestation, it's a transformation of Supreme's energies or a byproduct of the Supreme. So it's any byproducts that comes, it's a transformation of his energy only. He doesn't change. He doesn't, diminish or decrease in his quality or any other aspect. It's the energy that gets transformed into various things. That's called a byproduct. So the living entity or this cosmic manifestation, it is a transformation of the Supreme's energies or a byproduct of the Supreme. It is like milk being transformed into yogurt. In this way, if you study the living entities in the cosmic manifestation, it will appear that they are not different from the original absolute truth, but from the Vedic literature, we understand that the absolute truth has varieties of energy and that the living entities and the cosmic manifestation are but a demonstration of his energy. So this all happening because of his multivarious energies. He's got so many energies. So with that energies, everything is being, activated. Everything is being performed. So one should not misunderstand that all this transformation takes place. He diminishes in his quality, or he diminishes in his, other potencies. He doesn't. He remains as he is. Full, 100%. No diminishing, not increasing. The energies are not separate from the energetic. It's always interconnected. The energy is not independent. The energy is always dependent on the energetic. There is no meaning for energy without energetic. There is no meaning for energetic without energy also. Both ways. Energetic means there should be energy. Energy means there should be energetic. Both ways it is. So such a conclusion regarding the absolute truth and the relative truth should be acceptable by any sane man. So just like the example is given, from milk, curd is made. Okay. Milk is original, and with the help of some tamarind or some chemicals, it can be transformed into milk also. That milk that curd cannot become milk again, can it? From milk, we can make curd. From curd, can we make milk? We cannot do that. So that's the difference, So transformation of energies. The Supreme Absolute Truth has his inconceivable potency, out of which this cosmic manifestation has been produced. In other words, Supreme Absolute Truth supplies the ingredients, and the living entity and the cosmic manifestation are the byproducts. In the Taittiriya Upanishad, it is clearly stated, Yato vai imani bhutani jayante. The absolute truth is the original reservoir of all ingredients, and the material world and its living entities are produced from those ingredients. So, whatever ingredients required for giving body to the Jivatma, it is supplied by the Supreme Lord. So in the material world, he has assigned this duty to various responsible, exalted devotees of the Supreme Lord, like Brahma. Brahma is the secondary creator. So according to our karma and desires, what was there in our previous life, okay, we get a body suitable to that. So the secondary creator Brahma gives the body. Lord Krishna, the Supreme Absolute Truth, empowers him. He gives the necessary ingredients. So that is called Bhumirapo Anaro Vayu Kammano Buddhirevacha. Okay. So these are the ingredients required to give the bodies. And in that, he gives a consciousness also according to our vasana and karma. That's what, it is explained here. So ingredients, the material ingredients is given by the Supreme Lord only. Just like a chief engineer is building a hotel. Okay. From where is he getting the material? Okay, he is not making the materials. Right? Similarly, Brahma is not making the material. He is getting this from the Supreme Lord. Although he is the chief engineer of this material world, from whom he gets all this material? From the Supreme Lord. As the architect or chief engineer is making a building with the necessary raw material, he is not creating that raw material, he is getting from the nature. So less intelligent person who cannot understand this doctrine of byproducts cannot grasp how the cosmic manifestation and the living entity are simultaneously one with and different from the absolute truth. So this is our tattva. Achinta, Bheda, Abheda tattva. Achintya means inconceivable, Bheda different, Abheda non-different. Tattva philosophy, truth. So this is the philosophy that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us. What is that philosophy? We are simultaneously one with the Supreme Lord. How we are one with the Supreme Lord? In quality. Okay, we in the sense, not this body, the Atma within, the self within. That is, what is the concentration of this particular Atma? Satchit Ananda. And the Supreme Lord is also Satchit Ananda. So we are one in quality with the Supreme Lord, but not in quantity. So that's why it's Achinta, Veda, Abheda. We have difference, Veda. Difference is in quantity we lack. Abheda means we don't have any difference. That is, in quality we are same like the Supreme Lord. We are talking about the soul, not about the body. Okay, the real self. So this is the tattva that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has taught us. So there is a slow and gradual refinement from Lord Buddha to Adi Shankaracharya, to Ramanujacharya, to Madhvacharya, to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So complete refinement took place when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came and distributed this, taught us this particular tattva. Not understanding this, one concludes that the doctrine of the byproducts implies that absolute truth itself is transformed. Absolute truth is not transformed, his energy is transformed. Unnecessarily fearing this, one then concludes that this cosmic manifestation and the living entities are false. Okay, what Shankaracharya says? Jagan Mithya. What is that? Brahma Satyam, Jagan Mithya. Okay. Brahma Satyam, that is only Satya. And Jagat is Mithya, means false. It's not false. It is there. It's not that this material nature is false. Material nature is very much there. We are there. We are not false. This is not that we are dreaming. So it is there. So the example is given here. Okay, what is it? Shankaracharya gives the example of a rope being mistaken for a snake. And sometimes the example of mistaking an oyster shell for gold is cited. But surely such arguments are ways of cheating as mentioned in the Mandukya Upanishad. The examples of mistaking a rope for a snake and an oyster shell for gold have their proper application and can be understood as follows. The living entity in its original constitutional position is pure spirit. When a human being identifies himself with a material body, his misidentification is like mistaking a rope for a snake or an oyster shell for gold. So this is how we have to apply this example. Okay, a rope is mistaken for a snake. Okay, this body is mistaken to be the self. But here Shankaracharya explains that how this is Maya, how this is false. We are mistaking ourselves, as just like how you're mistaking a rope to be a snake. To mistake a rope for a snake, so that we should know that there is something called snake also, isn't it? So snake is also a truth. So the doctrine of illusory transformation of state is accepted when one thing is mistaken for another. That's illusion. Actually, the body is not the living entity, but according to the doctrine of illusory transformation of state, one accepts the body as a living entity. Every conditioned soul is undoubtedly contaminated by this doctrine of illusory transformation of state. So far, any questions or any comments? I just kept on reading.
Prabhuji, you told sometime before that Lord Krishna told that we were there before also, we are there now also, and our soul will be there in the future also.
Yeah.
So if Prabhuji, we are our soul is from the past, then how it is possible that the population of the earth is increasing, because if soul numbers are fixed?
There is, according to our karma, we transmigrate from one body to another. Okay, so definitely there will be fluctuation in the number of living entities. It is not the same number of living entities every time. Sometimes we are in the human body, sometimes we are in aquatic body, sometimes in animals body, sometimes trees and plants body. So according to our karma, we transmigrate from one form to another. Definitely there will be fluctuation, no? So living entities never increases, never decreases. Number of living. It's not that, oh, okay, now the living entities have come down, let me make few more living entities. No. Suppose X number, okay, that is living entity. That is always there, but not in the same body. So when you talk of the population increase and decrease, okay, we were aquatics or trees and plants or birds or animals in our previous lives. Okay, now we have become human beings. So population of human beings have increased. Now when we next life, after this life, we may go to some other planets. Definitely, the number will decrease or increase. But the living entities, whether in the body of human or in the body of any other species, it never changes. Now we are only concerned about the human beings there. That's what you mean, right? So
Yes,
definitely there will be, more or less, because we get different bodies. So it will not remain same. When we die, what is the guarantee that we will be born as human being? There's no guarantee. We may get elevated, we may get liberated, we may get another body, slower species. Okay, we may go to different planets. There are innumerable planets in this material universe. We may get elevated to Sargaloka. So you are still there, but not here in this. We are counting the human beings of this particular Earth planet. So how you can get a count? Okay, Sarvagadha. Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Sarvagadha means everywhere. It's not only in the earthly planet. The living entities are there in every planet, spiritual and material. Spiritual planets, they are liberated. In the material planets, they are conditioned. That's the only difference. So after I leave the body, according to my karma and desire, I will get either this planet or some other planets. Either I'll get a human body or a spiritual body or an animal body or any other body according to my karma. Is it clear?
yes, Prabhuji, clear. And also one last thing I wanted to ask, that is, you said sometime before that our soul is equal in quality but not in quantity.
Yes.
With the Supreme Lord. It is the quantity of the soul or the quantity of something else?
It's not the soul, it's a living entity. Soul is only, in this material world, we use that term, Atma, because it is a covering, okay, of material body. So to identify or distinguish from the body to soul, this term is used. Okay, actually the living entity. In the spiritual world, there is no distinction between body, soul, mind, intelligence, this and all. Everything is Satchidananda. So only in this material world we can use this term soul and body, Atma, this and that. There is a person, living entity. Got it? So here only we are part and parcel of this. So just like there's a master, okay, there is a king, there are so many servants. Like that, the master or the king is the head of the state or head of the country, and all others are serving him. Similarly, he is the supreme lord in the supreme abode, and all other his part and parcel is servants, are servants and serving him. So it's not soul; it is the living entity as a person. So there, the person means there is no distinction between soul, mind, intelligence, and body. Here there is a distinction. Because this soul, this Atma or living entity is covered with matter called Panchabhuta or subtle elements called mind, intelligence, and false ego. So that is how we have to distinguish in this material world. There in the spiritual world, there is no distinction between that. Everything is Satchidananda. In the spiritual world, there is nothing, what you call, everything is sentient. Everything is conscious. Everything. The sofa is conscious. The table is conscious. Okay, the chair is conscious. The door is conscious. The house of the wall is conscious. I mean, the wall of the house is conscious. Everything here in this material world, whatever you see, this is all made up of dull matter. For example, the door of your house, is it conscious? When you just go approach the door, will it open for you?
No, Prabhuji.
It will. But in the spiritual world, it has Chaitana. It is conscious. When the devotees or when the Supreme Lord nears the door, automatically it opens because it is conscious the Supreme Lord wants to go out or he comes in. Accordingly, it will serve the Supreme Lord in various ways. The sofa, for example, the Supreme Lord wants to sit or the servants wants to sit. So according to the desire, the sofa will get adjusted or come near to you or whatever way you want, it will happen. Because around conscious beings, personality, maybe it is in the form of a sofa or table or chair or any other paraphernalia, but they're all conscious. In the spiritual world, they are not conscious. The flower in the garland is conscious. The milk is conscious. Everything is conscious. So it's very difficult to, conceive this idea of, everything is conscious in the spiritual world because we don't have that knowledge that the table is conscious and the door is conscious or the mridanga is conscious. So that is the difference, spiritual world and material world. Chaitana. Is it right?
Yes, Prabhuji, understood. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Very good. Okay. Any other comments or questions? Very good question, Mr. Jyoti. Any other questions or somebody wants to comment? Parag Prabhu, Maidi Mataji, Tarini Mataji. Paramananta Purushottam Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, now slowly and gradually we have to get used to calling the spiritual names. Anyway, for Tarini Mataji, it is the same, the first name. So there's no problem. Okay.
Now, Prabhuji, he is used to this is spiritual name. I always make him remind.
Very good.
Prabhuji, this name is for the body or for the soul? The Guru Maharaj gave this name.
Actually, it's a spiritual name. It should remain same.
Should remain.
Yeah, not for the body.
Not.
It will remain the same. Anyway, see, there in the spiritual world also there are spiritual masters. So this same spiritual master will get eternally. Now then you'll think that our calculation will be like this sort of relationship. Now in the spiritual world, we are all having different bodies, different rupas. How the Sakhis are serving Radha Krishna, how Sakhis are being served by Manjari, how Manjaris are being served by Judis. They're all spiritual masters. Okay, so all these spiritual masters, bona fide spiritual masters, they have some Manjari form or Sakhi form or Judi form in the spiritual world. without, they will not bypass. If they want to meet Radha Krishna, they will not go directly. There is a hierarchy. Even in materially speaking, suppose somebody, a staff, wants to meet the general manager, he will not go directly to the meet general. He will ask the department manager, department supervisor, take permission. With his permission only. So the authority for them, that's a spiritual master. So this is eternal spiritual master.
Under Manjari, what is the position, Prabhuji?
Duty.
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 Like that's also so many. So there are manjaris just like very close. Just for example, you have friends. Okay, for example, Mayuri Mataji. There are so many ladies friends, Sakis. Okay, they are very close. But you have manjaris, maid servants at home. The Sakis, there is some limitation to access the rooms and other places. There is some limitation. But manjari can access any place in the house. Isn't it?
But Manjari, this is Prabhuji, the small girls. They are the Manjari.
Yeah, they are small girls, maid servants,
Yes.
younger than the Sakis. So when your Sakis friends come home, they may not be allowed to enter certain area for whatever reason. Okay, but the maid servant at home, they have access to any and every places of the room. They know each and every small information of yours. They're always with you. So that's the difference of Manjari. All these spiritual masters, Srila Prabhupada, all these acharyas, they're all mostly Rupa Manjaris. Okay, Rupa Goswami, Rupa Manjari, Sanatana Goswami, I think Lamanga Manjari, I think. Ananga Manjari, Radharani's sister, Ananga Manjari. So all these Manjaris, they have a special this thing. Their access is more than the access of Sakis. That's the difference. Like that. So this is, it's very difficult for us to comprehend and fathom what's happening in the spiritual world, how this is. It's a very small sample was exhibited in Vrindavana. In the Bhaumya Vrindavan Leela. Very small sample. This is eternally going on in the spiritual world. Here also is going on, but now we will not be able to see with our naked eye. We should have the spiritual vision. Then we will be able to see that.
I have one question, this is not related to this one, just one question came to my mind.
Yes.
That sometimes people see that some spirit in a house or something, So sometimes that spirit stays in the house or sometimes when somebody died, his soul, is in the house or something like this.
What we do is we have to just chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Okay, they will go away from there. They will get liberated. When Srila Prabhupada was in Lucknow, he started his transition work in that house. It was a haunted house. Okay, and a person, ghost, without anybody approached him, he could make out that somebody is there, some living force is there, disturbed, totally disturbed. Then he asked, "Why are you here?" Then he said, "I am not getting body, I am really troubled. Please liberate me from this condition." Srila Prabhupada chanted Hare Krishna mantra for him, and he got, elevated from that particular state to get a body. Is there in the Nilamurda. So they are not scared. Maybe due to some reason, some souls, they did not get body, okay, because of some sinful activities. So that's why we say this is haunted house, Bhut, Pret, Pishach. So wherever Harinam is recited, Harinam is sung, they will also get benefit. Those living entities without body also gets benefit. That's why chanting Harinam or Hare Krishna mantra loudly benefits other living creatures also. Okay, there is soft chanting for ourselves, little loud chanting that benefits not only for us, for other living entities around. And there is kirtan, that is performed congregationally, that has more effect, because Sankirtana is complete Kirtana, glorification. So japa, that is soft chanting. For whatever I am chanting, I should be able to hear. Little loudly, that benefits those around. So many bacteria, so many living entities are hearing that also purifies their existence. And with congregation, we chant. Okay, that has more effect. Sankirtan. Okay, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Prabhuji, but I am asking that if someone does not have the body, then how can he talk to someone who has the body?
Yes, this is by the mercy of Supreme Lord. They will be able to make out what they're, especially saintly personalities like Srila Prabhupada. It is, they can make out the presence. They can make out. So this is because there is some soul, some Atma, wandering here for want of body. I have to liberate. So they chant. And, they can see also sometimes some light or something. I have not experienced it. This is what it is written in that, Lilamrita. It is in the Abhay Charan series also, serials. Also it is shown. So just for us, they are showing them just like a person, without a body, just a shape is shown. And Prabhupada is asking. So Prabhupada then, because then he's telling, he's chanting, then he disappears. So they, most of such things to, persons like Srila Prabhupada, saintly personalities, are revealed either in dream. Most of them are getting dreams, and they are getting instruction from spiritual master. Srila Prabhupada got the instruction to take sannyasa from his spiritual master first. Okay, he saw a dream. In that, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj told him, please take sannyas. He neglected. It's a dream. I should not take it seriously. Second time, again, he saw the same dream. Please, it's time for you to take sannyas. Dedicate completely for the service of Supreme Lord. Second time, he could not do that. Third time, again, he got it, the same dream. Then he decided to leave his family. Then he took sannyas. So all this information, all these revelations are passed. How? Through dreams also. And whatever they desires, it will be fulfilled by the Supreme Lord. They are not desiring something material for their sense gratification. So intense desire to do devotional service will be fulfilled by the Supreme Lord. We should have that intense desire, greed to do devotional service. So anything, just like, Gopal Bhatta Goswami, okay, he was instructed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to go to Kali Gandaki river. You will see Lord Hari. He went all the way from Srirangam in South India. How many thousand kilometers? This is on the sea level, Srirangam, and this is in the Himalayas, up how many thousands of feet high. Walking through forest. There is no proper path, road that days. Walking, just because but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed him when he stayed in his house for 4 months during Chadurmasya. He was around 10 years of age that time. So after he grew big and his parents left, so he then went to fulfill the instruction of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu all the way to where Kali Gandaki river, where there is Muktinath temple. Even now to go to Muktinath temple, very difficult. Now you have to go by an helicopter. You cannot go walk. It's very high, and you will not be able to breathe because oxygen level is very less there. So here he walked thousands of kilometers through jungles and mountains and all. Then he went up to Muktinath, where the Kali Gandaki river is there. There he took bath in that Gandaki river. As he took bath, in his Kamandalu, 12 Shaligram Shilas, came. And some people say that, it is by mistake, then you put it back. 2 times, third time again it has come. And he said, it is will of the providence that I should take them and worship them. And he saw, and there is no difference between Shaligram Shila and Lord Krishna. It's no difference. It's not Vishnu, it's Lord Krishna. Okay. He brought, and Shaligram Shila, it is not necessary to do prana pradesha. Sakshat Krishna, Brajendra Nandan. Okay. And he was worshipping this under the instruction of Rupa and Sanatana Goswami in Vrindavan. He came all the way back to Vrindavan. He was very, very happy. Immediately he called Rupa Sanatana Goswami, and Rupa Sanatana Goswami instructed him how to worship this Shaligram Shila. But then Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, okay, were having Madan Mohan and Govinda. That was the Radharani was not the right thing. So they're all having beautiful Krishnas, deities. And I have Shaligram, but I don't have a deity like, I don't have a Tribhanga Lalita form of the Supreme Lord. So he was feeling little uncomfortable. I cannot worship the Supreme Lord. How Rupa and Sanatana Goswamis were worshipping. He was having that intense desire that you should have Tribhanga Lalita form of the Supreme Lord. Okay. So one day merchant came and gave them Rupa Sanatana Goswami, jewelry and silk cloth and everything to, and so many ornaments to decorate their deities. And Gopal Bhatta Goswami also got the same, but how can he decorate? He cannot decorate a Shaligram with jewelries and so many other ornaments. So that Prahlad Maharaj was having that intense desire of Narasimhadeva to appear, to protect him and to kill Hiranyakashipu. So one day it was Narasimha Chaturdashi. So he was just contemplating how Prahlad Maharaj could he see the darshan of Narasimhadev, because of intense desire. So I don't have that intense desire and devotion. That's why I'm not getting the Tribhanga Lalita form of the Supreme Lord. And I'm still having the Shaligram. There is no difference between that and the Tribhanga Lalita, but still he wanted to decorate and to do Sringar. For Shaligram, he cannot do that. So he was intensely desiring. So please, oh Lord, please manifest in that form so that I also will be able to worship you and do Sringar for you. So one day in the morning, early morning, he was going to take bath in the Yamuna. Then he prayed to Shaligram. As he got up, he saw the Shaligram Shilas, he prayed to, now I'm going to take bath in Yamuna. Okay. I will come back. I want you to manifest a beautiful Tribhanga Lalita form. Okay. This is my intense desire. And if you don't, I will again go to Yamuna, take all of you, I will tie all of you into my neck, and I will jump into the Yamuna and leave my body along with you. This was, the statement that he made to Shaligram, all the 12 Shaligram. He went to take bath in Yamuna. He took bath in cave, and lo and behold, what scene he saw after coming? It's a beautiful Radha Raman deity. Okay. And Radha Raman deity, it's beautiful. The pada in the lotus feet, that is like Madan Mohan. The waist, that's like Govindaji. The head, that's like, what is that? You remember?
Gopinath. So Prabhu's face is like Govind Dev Ji, the chest like Madan Mohan Ji, and the leg like Gopinath, Radha Gopinath.
Like that, okay. So like that,
Yes.
he got that beautiful Radha Ramanji, and that Radha Ramanji you can see now in the self-manifested deity. And so happy, he kept the standard of worship very high. And while coming on his way back from Muktinath, that is in Nepal, to Srirangam, in Haridwar, he stayed in a Brahman by name Madhva Sharma. So Madhav Sharma was a Brahmin, so he received this Gopal Bhatta Goswami very nicely, gave him all the necessary things for his stay at home one day, one night, because he used to stay at night in some Brahman's house. So in Haridwar, he stayed in the house of a Brahmin by name Madhav Sharma. So Madhav Sharma was very happy, but having this saintly personality at his house. And Madhav Sharma and wife didn't have any children. Knowing this, that they were hankering to have children, Gopal Bhatta Goswami blessed them that soon by the blessings of Lord Hari, he will have children. Then Madhav Sharma said, if by your blessings, if you are getting children, I assure you that I will give my children to do devotional service to help you. Okay, so this happened and he left. And all this happens and Radha Raman deity got manifested. So he was thinking, now I need people to do seva. What can you do? I am alone. Very high, ways of worship he wanted to introduce. Who will help me? So, next day when he came after, bath, he saw Madhav Sharma there. With two of his children. One is Damodar, the other name is, I forgot, Gopinath, I think, yeah. Gopinath and Damodar. Gopinath and Damodar. He said, Madhav Sharma has promised, I am dedicating my two children, giving my two children to you, to serve you and to the Supreme Lord. So in that, I think Gopinath became Naistika Brahmachari. Damodar got initiated, he initiated also, both of them got initiated. Damodar got married. And from that parampara till now, the same lineage are worshipping Radharaman.
And Radharaman deity, Prabhuji, you can see the teeth also.
Yes.
His white teeth also can be seen in his deity.
So very beautiful. So all these are not stories. Yeah.
Prabhuji, but I had a doubt that if the day before that saintly personality went and blessed them that they will have children, then how the next day?
No, day before, when he was coming back from Muktinath, from Kali Gandaki river, on his way back, he stayed in Haridwar. He blessed, and after so many years, the merchant came, gave the ornaments and the silk clothes and all these things. Then all of them got temple also. Radharaman ji got temple, Madan Mohan ji got temple, Govind ji got temple. So all these things after so many years, when he got this Shaligram Shila manifested as Radharaman ji, that time he was, thinking, now who is there to help me? So in the meantime, he had already got two children, this Madhav Sharma, and he came and surrendered these children to Gopal Bhatta Goswami. So that parampara, that lineage, people are still worshipping Radha Ramanji in Vrindavan. These are not stories. It's all recently happened, few hundred years. Their descendants are there still worshipping Radha Ramanji. So beautiful. So yeah, Mataji.
No, we went to Prabhu Radha Ramanji temple, means 2-3 years before with Jagashakshi Prabhu, na?
Yeah.
So I was there with my water bottle. And one panda came and he scolded me very badly. Why are you with this pani ka bottle jhuta wala? I told him, Prabhu, it is not jhuta. No, you can't enter with this bottle. Go and throw it first.
Very,
very particular, Prabhu.
Strict, way of worship. Very strict way of worship, yeah.
And means that film actress Hema Malini always go there to worship Radharaman only. Yeah, she does seva, means with Bharatnatyam or this